G'day, guys. Ruddy here from the Superjesus. May the rock be with you.
Mate, welcome to May the Rock Be With You. We've done stuff before, but never actually chatted. So it's actually great to actually see you and have a chat today. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me, mate.
No worries, man.
Awesome.
Now we're here because there's a bit going on in the Super Jesus camp. You're out on tour at the moment. We'll get to an album in a minute, but how the show's been going so far?
Really well. We've been playing to, if not sold out, just about sold out houses around the Sydney and Melbourne. So it's been, quite a good experience to sort of get back out there, and a lot of the feedback is people enjoying the album and stuff like that. So
Yep.
the show's been really good. We're enjoying it, which I think transfers on stage as well to the audience. So it was a good
Awesome.
thing.
Good to hear. Now, throughout the years, you've released singles, but the first new album earlier this year, about 20 years between albums, right? Why was now the right time for
Yeah.
a new album from the Super Jesus?
Well, we'd gotten back together. Sarah and I had breakfast. We had a coffee at about in 2010. So 3 years later, we talked about putting the band back together. 2013, the band got back together.
Mm.
We toured, and there was people were into it. People wanted to see us play. Then we started to release, song here and the song there sort of thing. And we decided, why don't we, if we're going to go that far and do record 5, 6 songs for an EP, let's just make an album. And
Mm.
that's what we did. So, we've been out there playing along, and we just felt it was right time to, you got to ask yourself too. It's a fairly solid commitment. And if you're ready to sort of back it up, put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing. So, and we have been able to back it up, and here's where we are now. So that was kind of what it was all about.
Yeah, right. So in that time though, was there anything that helped inspire the songs, or was it a collection of ideas you had over that time that finally got to be finished and see the light of day?
We both had different sort of demos and things like that we'd been working on at various points. So it was good to sort of come together and sort of, sit down. Our process is kind of sit down into a hotel room with pad and pen and sort of listen to each other's demos and maybe, mark what we think might be kind of worth it. So, or worth working on, and what sort of ignites some sort of, spark between us. So that's kind of been the way the process has gone, and that was sort of how it went.
Yeah, awesome. So has it lit a fire under you though? Can we expect more sooner rather than later, or are we just going to have a bit of a break for a while?
Oh no, no, I'd like to keep going. In fact, we had a surplus of songs. Obviously, over a certain amount of time, you just keep songwriting because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah,
And Sarah's been quite active with her sort of solo stuff, and I was sort of here and there with projects I've been working on. But we're going to keep writing because we probably about 30 to 40 ideas or
hmm.
songs for that out.
Okay,
And keep going. Yes, we will continue to keep writing. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
excellent.
as long as the spark's there, as long as we feel good about it. And right now we feel great. So yeah, I don't see any reason why not.
Perfect. Now, you've had members come and go throughout the band, but the McLeod and Rudd Foundation has stayed strong. So what do you put that relationship down to that's maintained close for this long?
Um, yeah, it's a good question. I'm not too sure. We've been, together since the start of the band,
Mm.
you know, and I think perhaps a bit of maturity and a bit of sleep in between tours. Like I think that kind of helps. I mean, we've sort of learned to sort of sit back and open our ears a bit to each other and be a bit more respectful, I guess you could
Mm.
say, to how the other person thinks or whatever, and also to recognize that we have something special, that it is good. And then once you realize that, and it took us a little while to realize that, that's kind of what was the magic to keep it going,
Mm.
because originally Sarah and I were probably opposite ends of, the spectrum,
Yep.
and that sort of has been a good working relationship together. So yeah.
That's what works sometimes when the differences that bring it together.
So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How's the
Yeah,
band
for sure.
firing at the moment? I know you got a couple of new guys in recently. Like when you bring in the different, the guitar and the drums and whatnot, How does that go? Is there working to get used to it again, or do they just fit right in?
We tend to sort of, and look, it's unfortunate that members come and go. Like
Mm,
it's just, but it's the nature of the business, I guess. And ideally, we look forward. We've always looked forward, and like these two guys we've got now, Cam Blockland and Ben Todd, they're Adelaide musicians. I'm in Adelaide. Um, so it's just been a great fit.
mm.
We can get together, we can rehearse, we can just get it all in the pot, if you will, and get the mixture right. So
Awesome.
that's been great. Yeah, it's been
Good.
really good.
So let's talk anniversaries because they're always fun, right? Jet Age turns 25 this year. So when you're coming off the back of a debut as strong as Sumo, can you remember the feelings when the second album was about to drop? What you were feeling when you've got that elusive second album that it has to do well?
Yeah, totally right. Because sumo sort of went, as you said, it kind of went pretty well, and it became a bit popular. And we toured a lot. Like I
Mm.
think we were on the road for 18 months with that, and we were working quite hard. So by the time we kind of got to Jet Age, I remember thinking, does anyone sort of still remember us really? Because it had been what, 2 years later or whatever.
Mm.
Um, but on the back of that, we had a bit of a scratch with Gravity, the song Gravity, which was pretty good. So it just kind of it was an exciting thing, to sort of feel that you could step out of perhaps the sumo and into some new clothes, if you will. So
Yep.
and I just think as an artist, you're always sort of pushing boundaries or at least trying to. So yeah, and that's how it felt with Jade. Yeah.
Nice. Well, a song like Gravity is quintessential Superjesus for me, right?
Mm.
I think that when that came out, it sounded different, and I loved it that it wasn't, exactly a clone of before, which worked. But is there a song from your entire catalog that you think people should slept on or should listen to that doesn't get the love or listens that it should?
Um, Oh, look, I'm not too sure. It's a good question. I think there's a lot of stuff that's buried on some of the albums. I really like Manic on rock music. I think
Okay.
that's a great. Yeah. So yeah, go and have a check that one out.
I
It's
always like that
really
because people have different answers. Sometimes they're like children, right? You have your songs that are over there, and people are like,
sure.
Forget about that one," but it's always good.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Nice.
And a lot goes on when you're recording too. So sometimes the song actually encapsulates exactly how you're feeling when you're in that studio. So no different to if it's a sunny day, you got the roof down in the car and you're listening to Cherry Pie or
Okay.
whatever. Yeah.
Perfect. So that one was manic, was it, when you were recording that one?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, totally, totally.
So let's
Good.
go back now. Let's look back. If you could go back to the beginning and tell yourself a piece of advice about the future and about the industry, what would it be?
I would say let it go, just let it ride.
Hmm.
And the reason I say that is because I've spent so much time, believe it or not, so much time sort of with my head down, worrying, stressing, all the rest of it, that some along the way you do tend to not, put your head up and acknowledge where you've been or what you've been doing and sort of, say it's okay to yourself. So that's probably what I would do.
I
Yeah.
love that. So we talked about the McLeod-Rudd combination before, but it's very easy to say what can change over time. But what's the one thing that's always remained the same about the Super Jesus?
I'd say it's our rhythm section, like between Sarah and myself, the that's been a stable. Like underneath all of the songs, if you pull it all apart, you'll see a rhythmic thing that Sarah and I will do, and that has mainstayed. And always our desire to sort of make sure that our foot is always going forward in the right direction. We definitely think about it. I mean, we don't take 20 years to think about it, but we do stop and think about it and make sure we sort of, are going forward with some stuff as opposed to just resting on
Yep.
sumo day or. Yeah.
Fair enough. I like that. Now, do you have a memory though that stands out as the be all and end all, can't be beaten throughout the history of the band, you still think about to this day?
Yeah, I guess as any sort of artist out there would sort of feel or understand, like perhaps YouTube, whatever, wasn't so massive as it is today, but hearing the song, "Shut My Eyes" on Triple J radio for the first time was like, wow.
Mm.
It was national sort of radio, and just that feeling of You know, hearing your stuff on radio, it was just like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I thought it would
Never
never
forget.
happen.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, here we are.
Yeah,
And it's still happening. Like,
it is. It is. So we're very lucky, very blessed.
excellent. Now we talked about hair bands earlier, and I'm a big fan of the era, as you're aware of. But I know you just covered "Dancing with Myself" like by Billy Idol. That's fine. But if we're talking big hair, is there a song from that era that you think McLeod could nail and sing for the band?
Oh, yeah, she does pretty good with the AC/DC. Mind you, that's not really big hair, but if we're kind of going LA kind of that sort of style, I would say, I don't know, maybe Kickstart My Heart or something like
Cool.
that. She would be pretty good at. Yeah.
Yeah, get into it. Do it on the shows. Get it on the get on the set.
Totally.
That'd be fun. Now, lastly, let's look ahead with the prediction, mate. We always do this. Finish this sentence for me. By the end of 2025, the Superjesus will.
Still be touring.
Oh, cool. Good. I'll come and see you this time because I
Yes.
missed the Crowbar show a couple of weeks ago. Excellent, mate. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was a pleasure
All
talking
good,
to you
man.
today.
Yeah, you too, bro.
Thanks for checking out our interview with Ruddy from the Superjesus. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content, and check out the rest at maytherockbewithyou.com.